A good Saturday night to you. Welcome to Diamond Niners Weekly Conference Championship Game Edition. I'm Nick, joined by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
All the way from Houston, Texas, is producer Brad.
What's up?
If you're noticing that there's no music, there's a lot of our bells and whistles are absent, and that's cool because producer Brad is actually just down in Houston, and look at there. He's showing us the city lights. Is that a 2-story Wendy's I see back there? Oh, no, that's an actual city back there. Oh, wow. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff coming for you guys tonight. This was totally impromptu. Kevin, normally when we're doing this, there is we do all this show prep. We have these notes up. We have game notes. We have box scores. We have all this stuff in front of us. What do you have in front of you right now?
Me? I see you. I do see. I got a couple box scores up. Box scores
so
up.
Kevin actually has box scores. We are totally just jumping on because when something like this happens, we all start calling each other and get on the phone and say, "Oh my God, did you see that?" And so rather than just doing that as phone calls, we just decided to do it right here and to do it live in front of everybody. So we got some cool stuff lined up for you. Woody is going to Jimmy Touchstone is saying that Cam just hit another homer. That's probably true. I don't know. You can't always trust Jimmy, but that's probably true. It's oh wow, look at the comments. You guys are active. I love that. We got feet. Check out all these folks jumping in the comments. Joel's late. He got here as soon as he wanted to. That's awesome. So you guys are fired up. You should be. We all are. It's been a heck of a week. It's been a while since we talked to you guys. Conference tournament week's always rough because of travel and other considerations. We still haven't talked to you guys about the trip down to South Carolina, about reading angry Gamecock tweets on the road on the way back from South Carolina, the Middle Tennessee series. But heck, forget that right now. All that takes a backseat. The Niners are, quite frankly, they're on fire down in Houston, and they are on a roll. Cam Fisher and the rest of the boys. Kevin, this is what do you compare this to, man? What do you got for me?
I don't know. It's kind of like, well, it's been 10 years since we've made a conference final. The A10 days, our last year in the A10. So it's been a while. This is like a regional. If like 2 years ago when we made the regional, we got into the regionals with ECU. That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
You mentioned last week. We missed it last week. The Niners have won 9 out of the last 10 games. I just looked, and 9 out of the last 10 games since we last had a show. So maybe we should stop doing shows.
Well, I'm going to tell you. So, and this is producer Brad. I'm bringing you in on this. I have been to the last 2 Conference USA tournaments. I went to Ruston, Louisiana, and I went to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I'm not there. You are. If I'm the problem, producer Brad, I am totally willing to just stay out of this from here on out.
Yeah, you should. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Producer Brad, we need to see you on camera. I mean, there's a whole empty section behind home plate. You need to go sit down there for a couple innings during this tournament.
Hey, it is hot. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, that when the sun comes out, it makes its presence known. So I've been trying to just not die by sitting up in the shade.
Just give us one half inning, or
how
about one Cam Fisher at bat, so we can get a picture of you and Cam Fisher in the same shot.
I've thought about maybe trying to find a Staples or something down here so I can make some signs and go sit down there. But we'll actually, I guess tomorrow, I don't know if we'll be on that side of the field or not, but if we're down that way, because you're getting more skewed towards the other side than our dugout, the way the camera's set up.
just get right behind home plate, man. All we want is a screen capture. That's all we need to get is a producer Brad screen capture that we can do something with. I mean, you've traveled all the way to Houston. We might as well get a screen grab out of it, right?
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I know it is warm. It has been it's been so hot down there. You can actually see the heat coming off the field from the center field camera. I know it's got to be nasty. During the game in between between Dallas Baptist and Western Kentucky, one of their pitchers actually had to come off the field, and he ran from the mound. He had a mound visit. They came out and checked on him, and he was bent over. And the commentators were saying something along the lines of, "Oh, I think he might. I don't know. Maybe he stubbed his toe or something like that." They were making stuff up, and I'm like, "No, that dude's sick. That dude's having problems with the heat, and he's thinking about puking on this field." I think he faced one more batter, and when the coach started walking out to get him, he passed the coach running, and he ran all the way into the dugout and disappeared down the hall. I'm like, yikes. Yeah, I think the heat got to him. So yeah. I know that I know it's brutal down there on that turf. So everybody's got to be worn out.
Well, thankfully we had the early games. That's a good aspect. You don't get the heat of the day, at least. We did get the La Tech game, the second La Tech game yesterday, but yeah, that's probably the only good thing about playing the early games.
Why is Randy coming after me wanting to know what I've had to drink today? I have had I am drinking water, and that's it. I am having to stay hydrated to stay locked in on these games. So it's all water up here in Kannapolis, my friend. All right, let's not waste any more time. We got somebody in the waiting room we're going to bring in, still in his uniform. What's up, Woody?
What's up, guys? Good to see everybody.
Man, thanks for jumping in here with us. We're not going to keep you long. You probably want to take that uniform off and take a shower at some point. But, man, just tell us what's up. What's going on down there?
No, man, I'm enjoying wearing this thing. You know, it's like it's just kind of how I'm wired this time of year, man. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. No, just this time of year, you know, you don't want to take the uniform off. It's like, we just got done eating our team meal and that sort of thing. But I just got back to the room to see y'all. But yeah, man, we're having a lot of fun right now. And today was a special day.
Oh, Coach, you guys,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
A heck of a run so far, Coach. 5 games in 4 days. You're 4-1 in the conference tournament, 9 out of the last 10. Talk a little bit about the momentum you guys have going into the championship final.
Yeah, everybody was we were so mad at how we played the first game of the tournament. Nobody really felt sorry for themselves or anything like that. Everybody was just mad, and we just kind of rallied the troops there in the conference room, and I made sure the guys kept their heads up and just said, hey, look, and you guys have probably heard me say this a few times, but I've kind of been sharing a little bit more the last day or two. But I told the guys that, there's an old poker player saying that, as long as you have a chip in front of you, you get to have a chair. So you have a chip in a chair, and when you have that, you have a chance, and you get to keep playing. So that's kind of been a little bit of our rallying cry, and I know the guys are, they kind of joke about it and that sort of thing, but at the same time, I think there's some truth to it. Like, hey, we only got 1 chip left. We might as well just play loose and free and see how long we can do this thing. So I give our guys all the credit in the world, though. They're selling out. We had breakfast at 5:30 this morning. We're at the field at 6:30 a.m., to take batting practice at 7 a.m. for a 9 a.m. start. And, to battle like that in that first game, and then only, having, 90 minutes, 2 hours to kind of regroup and reset and, have another dogfight from at 4 o'clock for 9 innings. I mean, it was just, our guys are, they're just laying on the line. I'm so proud of them.
Coach, it sounds like you've switched from chess to poker. So are we going to hear about you entering a poker tournament in the off season?
I think I'm getting my poker fix right now with this tournament. I told you, yeah. The good thing is that we've got a few more chips in front of us now, and tomorrow we get to play heads up, no limit hold'em. So I told the team that's our kind of game. Let's go play it.
So just talk for a second about the challenge of, I don't care who you're playing. You guys have had to beat Middle Tennessee 5 times in a row in just the last handful of days. Talk about the challenge that presents in pulling something like that off.
Yeah, I mean, they're a really good team. Coach Myers, I mean, he was on the coaching staff on the 2010-2011 national champion South Carolina teams. I've just got a ton of respect for him. They've got a really good lineup and a lot of good arms. And I mean, Swan for them throwing 102 miles an hour. So, they're really good. But I think the approach for us we've just gotten so centered on ourselves and just like taking care of, playing our game. And it's kind of like the opponent's not irrelevant, but it doesn't feel like we're really paying too much attention to who the other team is or what the scoreboard says. Like right now, and I think that's when teams, I've always believed that's when teams play at their highest level is they don't get overly concerned with who they're playing or what the scoreboard is. They just kind of get after it and handle the game, whether it's we got to play small ball or draw some walks or get hit by pitches or steal bases or whatever it may be. And that's kind of how we're playing right now. And it just so happens that Middle Tennessee was one of the opponents for 5 times this week.
Coach, you say as long as we have a chip, we have a chance. But not only do we have a chip, we have Chip's son and Cam Fisher. Talk a little about his performance. He's been like a video game. Like you may build your own player in this tournament, breaking records every single at bat. Talk a little bit about him.
Yeah, Joe Templin, who's just been incredible this week as far as just on our sports information and our radio and all things just communications for our program this week. And he told me a really great stat at dinner tonight. He said that there's only been 2 players in the history of Reckling Park that have ever hit a home run in 5 consecutive games, and one is Cam Fisher and the other is Lance Berkman. And that's a pretty, when you're one of 2 and Lance Berkman's the other one, it's pretty good.
Kevin, I'm ready to declare that the best segue in this show's history.
Well,
that was phenomenal. I think that, and you're so right, Woody. I think we're all we're all almost running out of things to say about Cam because of what all he's done. There's only so many different ways that you can describe it. Poor Joe's having to invent new ways to call a home run. But what about
which he's really good at? Yeah,
which is really good at. Somebody that throughout their time here, we've always said this person kind of flies under the radar. How about a Jack Dragum quote? Because Jack's probably having the best week of anybody who's not named Cam Fisher.
I know. He's emptying the tank, and we don't have press conferences every week like the NFL or some of these teams, where it's like everybody knows kind of how banged up or what guys are playing through or who's pitching through this and that sort of thing. Like we got guys that are, they're just, I don't know what percentage they're playing at, but they're just, he's just, Jack's one of them. Like he's just giving it everything he's got. And, when you put this uniform on, like that's all you can ask for. Just give it everything you got. And it's just really cool to watch. He and all of our seniors, they're just they're emptying the tank right now. And the cool thing is that we got more in the tank for tomorrow, and I'm excited for it.
Coach, since game one of this tournament, we've had lockdown defense every single game since that first one. Talk a little bit about the huge defensive plays. I think La Tech left 12 runners on base yesterday. Seems like 2 days ago, but yes. Talk a little bit about the defensive performance of your team so far.
Yeah, we pride ourselves on it, pitching and defense. It's since Coach Bick and I got here at Charlotte, that's what we've wanted to develop and build our program around and recruit to. And the good thing is there were already some great defenders here, and we brought some new ones in, and those guys have just worked so hard to better their game, because this time of year you're going to face elite arms. We're going to see some really good arms tomorrow, and when you're relying on offense all the time, that can be difficult. So we work to build this team to play in the postseason and to play in the NCAA tournament and to win regionals and go to super regionals and have a chance to do that and go to Omaha's. And we haven't been really, shy about talking about that, and we never will, because, and to do those things, you've got to have a team that's capable of doing what we're doing right now, which is, it would be nice to go through the winner's bracket, but you've got to have a team that's got some depth to it. And we got some guys dinged up, and you get some a new DH in there, a new second baseman in there, and guys pitching in new roles, and that's what it's about this time of year. And the defense, like to your point, to get back on topic, has been stellar.
Now, Coach, we promised you we'd get you off to bed, and no, you've got probably got some prep to do for tomorrow, and we're not going to ask you to tell us any secrets, but just set the table for us for tomorrow. Everybody's using recycled arms now. Everybody's deep in their pen. Everybody's deep in their tank, as you said. Set the table for us tomorrow. What can folks expect besides a dogfight?
Well, we kind of have a thing on our pitching staff where if your spikes are on, you're available, and if your spikes are off, then you're not. So whoever spikes are on tomorrow, then they'll be available. And anybody whose spikes aren't on, that's okay, because we got plenty of guys who have gotten us to this game tomorrow, who don't need to have their spikes on tomorrow. But I can assure you that we have the guys tomorrow to get it done. And DBU is a heck of a team. We've got so much respect for them. In fact, we're actually sharing a hotel with them, and I wouldn't be surprised if we cross paths at team meal tomorrow. In fact, but because they're a first class program, and we've got a lot of respect for them. But we've got enough in the tank to finish this thing. I'm just thankful that we had the opportunity to do so. Our guys deserve it.
Well, Coach, we're gonna let you get off to the rest of your evening.
I am gonna take this uniform off. Yeah.
Hey, look, if you want to sleep in it, whatever, man. If that's your thing, if that's a thing, then do it. As Kevin points out, we're not superstitious, but we're a little stitious.
Yeah, no doubt.
Are we going with same uniforms, same jerseys tomorrow? Same jersey tops?
I think we're going gray CLT. I got to confirm with the seniors. Kind of been leaning on those guys for what they want to wear. So I think we'll be in the gray CLT. And this is awesome, by the way. Like, I just, I don't know if I even get to say it enough, but just, to being able to jump on here and talk with you guys. I mean, we've been podcasting now for a number of years, and I probably don't say thank you enough. And just seeing the comments of Randy Peterson and some of our players' families popping in here. Man, it's just awesome. And we're gonna do it. We're gonna do everything we possibly can to make sure that tomorrow is not the last day of this, and we get to keep this thing going.
Yeah, well said,
Thanks,
Randy.
Randy.
We appreciate you, Coach, because you got enough to do. You didn't have to come by here tonight.
This is why we do it, man. This is why we do it.
Okay, let's talk again, and the next time you talk, you can hold the trophy.
That's the plan. That's a deal. So appreciate you guys, and let me know if y'all need anything. And to everybody watching, thanks for your support. Let's go get it tomorrow, okay?
All right. Good night, Coach.
Good luck, Coach.
Thanks,
Go get them.
Thanks, y'all.
Go get them. All right, we're going to jump right off of that. We're going to remain in the team hotel and bring on Niner Baseball SID / play-by-play man / bumper music selector extraordinaire, Joe Templin. What's up, Joe? Oh, no, that's not Joe. There you go. What's up,
Hey, guys.
Joe?
No, how's it going? It's a fun night in that team hotel tonight.
Man, first of all, show everybody, back up a little bit, let everybody see your T-shirt there.
Yeah, let them know
Check
what I'm
the game
about.
notes, bud.
That's right.
Yep. If you need
They're
something, there's
high
a good
quality
chance it's
game
in
notes
there.
too.
And if it's
High
not in there,
quality
let me know
game notes.
because it probably should be in there.
So, Joe, you're there, and it does sound like, you can confirm this for us, but it does sound like at Reckling Park you're allowed to sit inside an actual
Yes.
structure to do your job. So that's cool. But man, it just sounds like all of us, and probably everybody listening to this, we're not. I mean, no offense to them, I don't even know who they are, but we're muting the ESPN Plus broadcast, watching it and listening to you at the same time. At my house, you're about a pitch behind. So it's perfect. It works. It's not exactly sync, but I can live with that. But dude, you sound like you're having an awesome time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely been a fun stretch here the last week or so. I haven't been as much of a homer over my 2 years of doing it up until probably that South Carolina game where I was back in a booth, and that's honestly part of the reason. I was outside at FIU, outside at UAB, and when you're sitting in the crowd of people, obviously you don't think something's going to happen, but you're like, I might want to watch what I say. I don't want to get too excited because Cam Fisher just hit another ball 500 feet. They might get a little upset at me for that. So, kind of hush tones. And at FIU, I actually had their student radio was like 3 feet away from me. So going back at that during the quiet parts where I wasn't saying much, which those first two games had a decent amount of those, especially that Friday night game, you can actually hear him talking over there. So, it's just been a lot of fun to watch these guys. And that South Carolina game got a little bit of extra juice, another top 10 matchup. And my fiance actually is a Gamecock. So a little extra there to give it to her and her friend group that I'm in a couple of group chats in. So that was good. Randy, I don't know how much sauce I have. I am not Jack Dragum. I kind of keep it off to the side, and I just follow his lead, and I go where the sauce takes me.
Right. He's got enough sauce for all of us, right?
Exactly. He's the sauce king.
Joe, I want to congratulate you on your 51st broadcast as a Niner. You mentioned that on the air. I wish we could have celebrated your 49th, but we didn't know it at the time.
Yeah, I knew I was getting close towards the end of the year, and I counted it towards the end of the regular season, but I forgot like how many games into the tournament I'd need to go to get there. And then we get there so early, as Coach mentioned, so that the guys have enough time to acclimate to the fields, get stretched out. That's a good idea for the shirt. So that we're not rushed and stuff like that. So I had a lot of prep time this morning, just kind of downtime. I had probably about 30 minutes to kill before I went live. So I went through and counted, and it took me a couple tries to go through and count from last year to this year, because I'm like, I just included the La Tech game 3 when I didn't have a radio call because our bus was dead and couldn't get the kid out of the bus. So So, but yeah, I came in and I was like, oh, this is number 50. So that's kind of cool. And you know, it was really nice to have 50 be a win, and then to get 51 on top of it in the same day just made it even better.
You know, that's a great point, Joel, about the t-shirt idea. I was thinking, I had thought about looking up exactly what that means, like on Urban Dictionary or something. But at this point, I just don't think I want to know. To me, it means Jack Dragon.
Yeah, it's a song. Yeah, it's a song
Yeah.
that we couldn't play a lot this year, you know, due to some circumstances really outside of our control. But yeah, it will always be associated with Jack. And you know, a lot of times with some of those songs, you don't want to know what the real meaning is behind it. I think it would tarnish the meaning maybe if we knew some of the secrets behind the sauce.
Well, that's right. You know, because my son's 11 or 12, and he likes the music they walk up to, so he wants to listen to it. So yes, I've had to screen some of it, but yes, it's all good.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Jake's song "Magic Stick" is a song about a baseball bat.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that it is.
Yep.
So, Joe, this is the first time we've had a chance to talk to you on the air. But you know, for us, okay, we're just the three of us. We all have different careers, and we follow this team and this program on the side, and we try to absorb as much of it as we possibly can. But for you, you're in such a unique position. You are literally living inside of this program day to day. And it really shows up in the way you call the games, because you know the guys and you know some of the stuff that's going on, and you can tell that you're going, you know, you're going to BP, and you're kind of ferreting out those little nuggets that you bring to the broadcast. So just describe for us what this is like, this emotional ride that you're on here, now that you spend all these months inside this program, and now tomorrow you're going to call a conference championship game.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic stretch. It gets better obviously as the season goes on with the more reps that you do. But you know, the struggle at the beginning of the year is I'm not around the guys all the time. Just with all, you know, baseball's not the only sport that I cover, and I've got all the office work that, you know, goes into doing the game notes and getting stuff ready, and, you know, making sure the website's up to date and bios and stuff like that, where I'm not able to really get out to practice and be around the guys that much outside of games. I can get out a little bit in the fall and winter, but you know, they're practicing a little bit in the fall, and then when the winter comes around, when my sports schedule works out and I don't have a sport at that time, they're not really doing a whole lot in late December, early January. So really for me, it's just getting to know the guys through watching them in the games, being around during batting practice before the game, and then when we go on the road trips, getting to know their personalities, getting to know them, talking to the guys, and building those relationships. So now by the time that we're 3 months in, I've got all those relationships. I got those historical anecdotes talking about the guys, getting their take on things, like knowing that Clark knows Jeremiah Boyd really well, the catcher from Middle Tennessee today, because they played 4 years at Presbyterian and stuff like that. So, you know, it's just those little things over time that build up to where at the end of the year, we're firing on all cylinders here, coming down the stretch. And, you know, talking about the conference championship, it's awesome. You know, to be honest, play-by-play was something I wanted to do when I was a kid. It was like the first thing I wanted to do. I'd be playing the video games in my basement, and I'd turn the volume down and call it myself, whether it was NHL, MLB, NBA, NFL. Like, I was calling everything I was playing, just because, you know, probably a little bit of hyperactivity in the brain where I couldn't just sit still and mindlessly play a video game for a while. But I really enjoyed, you know, saying what was going on. And there were sometimes, even when I really wanted to get wild with it, where I'd hook up the karaoke machine and set the microphone, like lean back on like the beanbag and set the microphone right there, so it could reverberate throughout the entire house, and you know, annoy my parents upstairs, like that. But who have been very supportive, mom and dad. If you're listening, I'm you know, I'm not trying to drag you guys there for getting mad at me for annoying you guys as a kid. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun that I get to actually do it. I only did a couple games here and there when I was at High Point, just because we we wanted coverage and we didn't have a stream, or we were playing somewhere that wasn't going to have a stream. So I just take like one mic with me, and first couple of times you're not going to be good. I remember my first game last year against Louisville down in Tampa. Well, first off, we had an internet issue where I wasn't connected for the first inning, and then I fired on, when Louisville was batting. First thing I call is a Louisville home run, one pitch in. And I'm like, oh, maybe we should just turn it off and bag it for the season if that's how it's going to go. But and then taking a month off before the Old Dominion series didn't help at all, stumbling over the words and stuff. As I still stumble. The Betty and Bob Bixby batting barn has been quite the tongue twister that I try to get through a couple times a game just to work on that. I got it once perfectly today.
Yes, you did.
And then promptly struck out swinging on the next time I tried to go for it. So maybe we'll get it tomorrow after we foul one off down there.
Yeah, you should have done a walk-off on that one. Just walk it
Exactly.
off and don't go back to it.
Yeah, Tony, glad I could. Turtle's just one of the names for it. I mean, you can come up with anything to describe that thing, but Turtle's what I've heard. And that just was one of those random thoughts that just kind of hits me sometimes when you're talking to yourself for 3 hours at a time. And then on a day like today, 6 hours at a time, you eventually run out of stuff to say, kind of like we were talking with Cam Fisher. I'm running out of things to not only call on the home run, but to tweet in all caps when he hits a home run. Luckily, there's been a bunch of milestones in these last couple ones where it's really easy to cherry pick those. But yeah, talking to yourself for 6 hours, I know my throat's a little scratchy, so I got a couple waters here to try and get ready to go. But yeah, just random thoughts that float in, and I'm like, oh, I'm by myself, so might as well just let it fly. I appreciate it, Arden. I really appreciate that. Do it all for you guys.
I don't know if you know this or not, Joe, but we are huge in Arden, North Carolina. I think it's unofficial, but I'm pretty sure we're the top listened to podcast about college baseball in all of Arden, North Carolina.
Okay. All right.
Joe, I wanted to know this year, have you had to donate any of your shoelaces to any players for the games?
No, luckily we have not had any shoelaces break, and part of that is because the majority of the time I wear my green shoes. Which, hold on, let me grab them for you here. Be right back.
All right. Well, if you don't know, last year I think he donated. Josh McDowell blew up his shoelace, and Joe had to step in and donate his shoelace to Josh McDowell so he could.
You'll notice I still don't have laces on the green shoes. I have not had them since the Middle Tennessee series last year, Easter weekend. Josh snapped one of his shoelaces during BP. I was right next to him. I'm like, hey man, you can take it. He's like, no, I don't. I'm like, dude, I'm just sitting upstairs in a radio booth. I'm not doing anything. I don't need a shoelace. And of course it turns out later that night we get a hailstorm that I have to sprint through to get back to the bus. So I'm glad I just didn't blow a tire and tear an ACL on the way back in front of the guys. That would have been embarrassing. But yeah, he has a really good game that game, and I knew this was coming before the final game. Like, hey man, can I get the other shoelace? Yeah, there you go. Hits 2 home runs though. So I'm like, all right, never seeing those again.
Well, you got to take one for the team, right?
Exactly.
I feel like that was a good trade.
It's really nice though. I always wear those on travel days when we fly, because if for some reason the TSA pre-check doesn't go through on the group ticket, it's like slippers, on and off. Don't have to mess with them.
That's pretty smart. I mean, they're making shoes like that now, specifically, but you already had those.
Exactly, and it's a really fun story when people are like, why don't you wear shoelaces? And I'm like, well, you got 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a great story. So we pride ourselves here, as you know, on bringing people things that you don't find in the box score, or the game notes even. Although it's getting harder and harder to bring people things that they can't find the game notes because they're so expansive. Do you have a story from this trip? Do you have a Reckling Park story? Do you have we got anything interesting going on down there?
I mean, the chip in the chair thing has definitely become the rallying cry. One of Coach Woodard's things is after each win, he gives out the lineup card to somebody, the big lineup card. And so the guys get it, and then all the other guys, speech, every single time this trip, chip in a chair. That's all they have to say. And it gets the guys going. I guess something I do, So it all started at Old Dominion when I thought the team left me at the stadium Friday night. So at ODU, the bus, I can hear you laughing. The turn in, I guess, goes down and it's a dead end around a cul-de-sac. And so I'm up there packing up and, I'm doing the radio and I'm doing the tweeting and graphics and stuff. And it's just me. So, I get done with the tweet, post it up there, and then I got to pack everything up and get back to the bus. I'm always the last one on the bus, no matter how fast I pack it up. And I can hear the door shutting while I'm still like on the underbase of the bus while I'm still putting stuff in my kit. So I open the door and I see the bus going down the road, which I didn't know was a dead end and they had to turn around. And so I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm walking back. I'd already made the walk to the park early that morning because last year we had the Great Clips from the Road, sponsored piece with Great Clips where, we needed to post pictures while we were on the road trip. So I walked over. It was only like 2 blocks. So I started walking because I thought they left me. And I'm like, it's a 5-minute walk. I'll be okay. And then I hear the bus honk and I turn around and I get a text from Coach Bick and he's like, "Hey man, you want to ride?" And I'm like, "Oh, all right, yeah. I thought you guys left me." So they pull over. I get on. I get the ovation and I just got on and I said, "Hey, how about them Niners?" And it stuck. And then it's just kind of became the thing. Coach Woodard always starts the Joe chant as I come on. And now the guys expect me to give them a "How about them Niners" when they get on the bus, to the point where today, after both games, I've got 5 or 10 phones out filming me saying this. And Cameron Hansen has always been on me to change it up a little bit. Like, hey, change it up here. Give us something new. And so I had something ready to go for FIU. I was going to say it in Spanish, Que tal los Niners. That didn't go as planned, and it doesn't feel right to do it when you pick up the Sunday win after the first 2. So I changed it up for the first time today, which really caught some guys off guard. I went with the Ric Flair route when I got on today before or after game 1. It was how about those home run hitting, strikeout throwing, defense playing, chip having, chair sitting Niners. Got the guys thrown up. The one this afternoon kind of fell a little flat. I was naming a bunch of different types of ships, like aircraft carriers, destroyers, yachts, catamarans. And I'm like, but out of all of the ships, my favorite is a championship. Half the guys knew where I was going with different types of ships. The other half were a bunch of blank stares. And I think it hit them afterwards. So, some of them fall flat, some of them land. So we'll learn from that, stick it in the memory bank and move on.
Well, I did enjoy the
That's fantastic.
The Good Morning Vietnam intros for the first 2 morning games. That was awesome.
So you guys weren't there on senior day because you guys were in Durham. But our PA, which I did PA for the 2 UAB games, which you guys knew about when we couldn't have it. And our PA for senior day, he lives a couple hours away. He got stuck in traffic coming in. There was like a bad accident on the road. So I had to cover the pregame PA reads, which included senior day. And we were starting that was a noon start. It got moved up. And so I'm sitting over there on the mic and I turned to Callie, our marketing director, and I'm like, I'm definitely doing Good Morning Vietnam. It's 11:40. I'm like 11:30. Like I can't pass this opportunity up. We don't get too many morning games. Whereas morning, we had the morning game at La Tech, but it was noon on the East Coast. So, people listening back home, it's not quite the same vibe. So yeah, that was a repeat, double down for those of you that were at the Hayes last Saturday. Shout out to you guys if you picked up on that.
That's freaking awesome, Joe.
Like you were texting me earlier. I'm just trying to have fun with it, I told you in the text, sometimes these stuffy radio broadcasts, when you're just you talking to yourself, and I've been doing this earlier this year. I was doing that when I wasn't trying to be as much of a homer and have as much fun with it, trying to stay more buttoned up. It's not as fun. And it just makes the game go by, makes it more fun when you're just letting it fly like that. And I think people enjoy it more when they can tell that you're having fun doing it. Like anything, when you can tell that someone doing their job is having fun doing it, it makes you enjoying that person doing their job even more fun.
Absolutely.
Yes,
now,
we hold
on, Kevin. I got a follow-up question about this
right.
bus. when you went the Ric Flair route,
Yep.
which we're big fans of Rick here on the show, did you end that with a woo, or if you did not, did you get one in response?
I did not, and I didn't both no to both of those. So, the thing that always gets, I know. I'll explain why I didn't woo. So, by the time I get to how about them Niners, I'm completely out of breath every single time because one, I just got done calling the game, so the vocal cords are already a little stressed. And then two, I take the deep breath and then I don't breathe in between and I just try and do a how about them Niners all in one breath. And when you put all of your energy into that, it takes it out very quickly. And so by the time, most of the time it's like, how about them Niners? The guys know what's coming, but I usually can't get the rest of the Niners out. So I just didn't have it in me to woo. And if there were woos in the back, it was drowned out by everyone else cheering. So, I don't know if these guys know exactly what Ric Flair is all about.
But Toby Bicknell does.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they were loving it up in the front of the bus, and they all got the ship references. Eric McKibben right in front of me, he's like, yeah, I was enjoying that one.
Well, we enjoy the broadcast because we can relate to you so much, Joe. Especially when you were when Eli Wiesner stepped in for the first time earlier today, and we thought you might lose it for a second there. You said you'd only told him 16 or 17 times how to pronounce the name.
Yeah, so it's in the game notes. It's on the roster guide. I try to put as detailed of a pronunciation guide in there, and a lot of times people will look at it and they'll say, "Oh, you've got a great pronunciation guide. I'm all set." And I still go over all. They'll look at the starting line and be like, "Oh yeah, we're all good." And if I was in there not doing radio, guy comes in, I'm like, "Okay," and I say who it is. Kind of like I do at home to make sure the PA guy's on the same track. And other, visiting SIDs will do when we're on the road to reinforce it. I can't do that when I'm on radio because I'm, either outside or all the way down in another booth. So, I go through it and then, they do the starting lineup. Okay, yeah, we're good. And I'm like, okay, there's two guys that will probably trip you up. Eli Wiesner and Aubrey Gillentine. Those are the two that I always single out. So I went over it. I watched the guy write it down on his page Wednesday morning. And he had the pronunciation guide right in front of him, along with all the other 7 teams' pronunciation guides. Coming into play at first base, Eli Wiesner. Not how it goes. So Thursday before the game, I'm like, "Hey, are you good on pronunciations?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm good. I still have them from yesterday." I'm like, "Okay, just a reminder, 21 is Eli Wiesner. He shouldn't, hopefully he's not coming in because at that point that would have meant that we're losing and we're probably pinch hitting." At that point, with how the lineup worked out. So I'm like, hopefully things go well and we don't have to see him. But just in case, that's how you say it. Yep. Okay. Got it. Did I say it wrong? I'm like, yeah, Wiesner, but it's okay. It trips everybody up. That's how I say it in my head when I spell it out because that's what it looks like. Okay. Early this morning, I'm like, all right, he's good. I went over it twice with him. He's all set. Eli Wiesner. That's when you heard me lose it on the broadcast because, he tells me he's good twice. I go over with it 3 times and he doesn't do it. So in between innings, I go over, I'm like, hey, 21, Eli Wiesner. He's like, well, no, that's what I said. And I'm like, no, you said Wiesner. He's like, well, I think someone behind me said Wiesner. I don't want that. I'm like, okay, it's still Wiesner. Doesn't matter who said it. You wrote it down. It's Wiesner.
Yeah, that we got corrected in the fall on that one as well. So it's an easy mistake, but not when you've been told several times.
The biggest help that the first pitch dinner has been is having all the guys stand up there when they introduce themselves, and I just take out my phone and I'm like, all right, how do they say their name? And if it's different from what I already had written down, I just make a little note in my phone. Okay, that's how you say it. So, I try to get as few of those changes as possible. But yeah, when you don't have a chance to talk to the guys ahead of time and they just come out of left field with something that you've never heard and wouldn't expect before, you're like, oh, all right, better make a note of that one.
I thought you were on the verge of potentially a Marshall-esque rant. Longtime listeners to the show know about what a Marshall rant is, and I thought you were about to have one, and it was going to be epic. It still could happen. We have another day to go.
We do have another day, and he had a pretty good day today, so he could be back in there tomorrow.
Yeah, so could be. So walk us through your day tomorrow. I know everybody should get to sleep in a little bit. No 6:30 or no 7 a.m. BP. So what's Joe Templin's day look like tomorrow?
Well, I'll probably be up quite a bit tonight. I still haven't started on the recap story from game 2 tonight, so I got to get on that. Honestly, I try and sleep in as long as possible on the road trips just because I am up so late half the time. Like when our 3 9 a.m. games, I set my alarm for 5:30 because I've got the tweet scheduled to go out, but the Instagram story isn't scheduled. So I set my alarm for 5:30, roll over, grab my phone, post it, tag the guy, go roll back over and take a 15-minute nap, showered the night before. So all I got to do pretty much is change clothes, freshen up, and get out the door. Usually don't eat breakfast. I mentioned on the pregame show in game 1 with Coach Simmons getting the food orders, you eat pretty good. And I'm not playing a baseball game every day like these guys are. My metabolism is not what it was when I was an athlete in high school. So I need to skip a couple meals here and there when we're eating 4 a day. So breakfast is the one I choose. I've got these little bars. We get snacks all the time. And so I found these ones this week. And I've stuck with these because on the back it's you can't really see it. There we go. It says nut free. I have a severe peanut allergy. Avoiding if it's got a snack that says, not made in a facility that has that, like we keep all that stuff out. If it's good, I'm going for it every single time. And to tie that in, actually, when you asked me to come on last Monday before the South Carolina game, I told you I couldn't. I was doing stuff for the wedding, so we were picking out my suit and stuff. And we decided to go to P.F. Chang's for dinner because it was also the 2-month mark from when the wedding was going to be. Been to P.F. Chang's a bunch of times. Always been fine there. Eating my rice after my entree, found a peanut in my mouth. Spit it out, ran to the bathroom, washed my mouth out with soap. Sat there for about 10, 15 minutes making sure I was okay. We get back to the apartment, and the first thing I say to my fiance is, should have done the podcast. Would have gone out to dinner if I did the podcast.
Well, I think spending time with your fiance is more important than spending time with us, but we are glad to finally have you on the show.
I'm glad to be here and share some of this. We'll get obviously tonight we're talking about the championship and that, but I know you want to hear about some of the parks that we've been in, and I know
you got tons of stories, man.
I can, yeah, well, not all of them good, Marshall, for instance.
Yeah. We can get in on them later.
You and I will bond over that one.
Yeah.
I think, Kevin, what I'm hearing is that this podcast could potentially save your life if you let it.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, good stuff. So what time you're rolling out to the park tomorrow?
Oh, he hasn't unless he just now sent it. I haven't really tried not to check my phone. He hasn't set it out yet. So game time's at 1 Central. We've been getting there about 2.5 hours before. So we'll probably get there. What would that be? 10:30. So we'll probably roll out a little bit after 10. 10:15 will probably. No, that place deserves every derogatory comment that it gets. Every single one of it. If you weren't there, you don't get to defend it. So we'll probably roll out around 10:15 or so. It's only like a 5-minute drive, if that. Like I've walked the first 2 days. I'd get done wrapping up my stuff and I'd go back to watch the 4:00 game. It's like a 7-minute walk. There's a little path you cut through the woods there. So it's we're right there. Easy trip. So yeah, probably get in around 10:30. Me personally, I'll go get set up in the booth. I'll be in the visitor radio booth tomorrow, which means I won't have the monitor in front of me with the ESPN Plus feed going on. So I'll just be watching it on the regular stream like everyone else, waiting for it to catch up to me if they decide to show the replays, unlike later on today or later on in the second game when we're reviewing a play and not showing any of the replays, which is always fun.
They show it after the call. They show it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that when we're in commercial break. So we'll do that. I'll get set up. I'll go down. I'll do the pregame show with Coach. get my score sheet, my scorebook filled out. I always balance it the game before, afterwards. I'll make sure I got everything written down from the computerized copy, and keep everything in my book. That's like my Bible over the season. If I need to go back and find something out, I don't have all the paper copies of all the box scores, but I've got my scorebook that has every single game in there, which is always nice. A brand new scorebook every year, so it's cool to wind it down and see how many spots I got. And then what I do is, if I'll take it and go to Cannonballers games or Knights games, or going back up for a Tigers game this summer, I'll go through and I'll start from the back and work my way up towards the end of our season, just to encapsulate all the baseball that I watched in that year and kept score. Because sometimes you go to the Knights games and you're focused on other things than scoring the game when you go to watch it as a fan sometimes. Thank you, Jack. Another voice of the Niners chiming in, keeping it all there. Jack, for those of you that don't know, he does our home games on ESPN Plus at the Hayes.
Joe, as you mentioned, you still have to do your game recap, and we told you we'd keep you for a few minutes. And
Randy, I keep those. Those are fun memories. Go back in 10 years. Hey, remember when Matt Brooks had a no-hitter broken up with 2 outs in the ninth that Jake Cunningham said should have been an error?
Yeah.
Oh, Jake said that?
Not Jake. Some of the pitchers said it. I mean, Jake I think he thought that he should have had it because it hit him off the glove. But I mean, if he makes that catch, that's like a top 10 catch, running at full speed, trying to go over the shoulder Willie Mays. But I definitely had probably 4 or 5 pitchers in my face when I got down there post game, like, how did you give that a hit? He got his glove on it.
Those pitchers will do that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, look at there. You're getting nominated for a 2-man booth.
Oh, but we're both play-by-play. I mean, I guess I could do color just because I've been around the team so much, but it's tough to go double play-by-play guys in the booth together. And the other thing, I'm never in the booth for home games because I got other things. I'm going to leave my job at home games undisclosed for the time being. And then Jack doesn't travel on the road with us, so.
Did you just say you're going to leave your job at home games undisclosed?
Yeah, we don't need any angry messages after home games.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that then.
Yeah,
I think by not disclosing it, I think you may have disclosed it. But
we'll let the people figure that one out for themselves.
Well, Joe, we're gonna let you get on. Speaking of your job, we're gonna let you get on to your recap story. Man, we were excited about having you on, and you didn't disappoint. You're doing great down there, and call us another victory. Why don't you?
I'll do what I can. And on the other side, no matter what happens tomorrow, it's May 27th, which means in 5 days it's a new month, which means we'll have another Pro Niners update coming out on the website.
Awesome.
There you go. A lot of good stuff to talk about there too, right?
Appreciate it, Randy. Yeah, a couple promotions. I texted Nate last night after his game. I'm like, hey man, like, congrats on the hits, but I'm also glad your comeback came a little short because he was playing the West Michigan Whitecaps, which not only are the Tigers affiliate, but their park is about 40 minutes from where I grew up. So I'd go to their games all the time. That was like the first baseball game I ever went to back when I don't even remember it, and I was in my dad's arms. So told him like, hey, like, hope you have success, but let's keep the team wins away from the Whitecaps there.
Well, here we were so happy about Nate getting called up. We just wanted it to happen about 10 days later. Yeah,
I almost texted him last week and said, like, you better like strike out a couple times so you don't get called up before you come to Kannapolis.
Yeah.
But at least we got to see David. I wasn't able to make it out, but I know you guys obviously have season tickets out there and could go see him. It just didn't work out with our travel schedule this year for me to make it out there. But always good to see those guys coming back. And actually, for those of you that play MLB The Show, Kevin, I don't know if your kids are in it, but the latest live rosters that came out, Dave, Amac, Bryce, and Goose are all in the game now.
Sweet.
They are all in the game for their affiliations. They don't really look a ton like their players, especially Dave. Goose a little bit, and Dave's batting stats is completely wrong. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. They've got him crouched down with a massive open stance. Like, that is that's not how Big Maple swings the stick. But it's really neat to see those guys start to make their appearance, and I'm sure. As more call-ups happen this summer and as we get more guys drafted, namely Cam Fisher coming up in about 6 weeks or so, that we'll see those numbers of Pro Niners in the video games increase. So if any of you guys out there play the show, download the latest live rosters and either give a search or go to those teams, the Cardinals, Braves, Diamondbacks, and Rockies, and you'll see some Pro Niners on the roster there.
Now, do you have to have the latest version of the game?
Yeah, it's the show 23 that just came out in April. Yep.
Well, you just sold me on it, so I'm going to go get the latest version. I think my kids have last year's version, so I think I'll give them a present here and then I'll go steal it and play it myself.
Yeah, don't expect the faces to look like they are, or probably any of the motions, or half the names to be in. They don't give for a lot of the minor league guys. There you go. They don't give a lot of the minor league guys the name audio, but they've got enough options where you can make it work. Expect Spencer. I had to make his Spencer Goose because they don't have Geesting as a last name. So you gotta fiddle around with some of the names to make it work. But it's their likeness in there, which is really cool. I don't even know if those guys know that they're in there. So that might be something you guys can tweet out and tag them in it and tag team it for us.
Yeah, it looks like Ben's promising us pictures. Ben, tag us
in the pictures.
We'll distribute.
We'll retweet them. That's what we do best. Retweet.
Yeah, maybe wait. You can post some June 2nd or 3rd after we get the Pro Niners report out there and tag it on the end of that. Get that update going out there at the beginning of the month. We're trying to put that. I know I told you guys, but for the people out there, the goal this summer is the beginning of every month, kind of recap the last month that all of our Pro Niner guys had. So hopefully Josh will get back to throwing here off the IL. And then, to be honest, for Reese, I don't know what I can say about being on the Party Animals. There's no stats that I know of that are tracked for that. But and I think tickets are already gone for when they're in Kannapolis because we tried to get on that.
They're going for like $200 off secondary market. So
some of those updates will be late, but for the guys that are playing regularly, trying to keep everybody informed every month, just kind of a check-in just to keep everybody tuned up on those.
My daughter's mad at me that I had a chance to put in for Bananas tickets and I didn't do it because I was just like,
well, we put in for it and we didn't get them, and like my fiance was on top of that early because we were like, oh, that's the week of the wedding, we were not going to have stuff to do that week, so we weren't even able to get them. And I feel like we put it in pretty early when they announced that tour.
If I were there, it would be to see Reese.
Right.
I don't particularly care if I miss the Bananas.
Right. But if you catch a foul ball, it's an out.
Hey, I got a stat for you, Joe. I did see this. I know we're running late, but
that's too much pressure.
Reese Hampton was the first player to foul out with a foul ball that's caught by a fan twice in one game. And he homered. So, but there are some stats out there, but they are very obscure.
So I've got my sombrero progression on the strikeouts that guys have. I wonder where the 2 foul balls caught by a fan ranks on any sort of like shame progression that you have.
I don't know. It's a new territory for baseball. So
it's got to count double if the guy catches it in the beer.
Or
that should count for 2 outs.
Well, if he catches it and it doesn't spill his beer.
Right. Well, that seems impossible.
If you've seen footage of a Savannah Bananas game and you think a foul ball being caught by a fan is the most shameful thing you're going to see, I don't know what to tell you.
Good point.
Well, Joe, we're going to let you go, buddy. We've enjoyed this. We could talk like this for another hour easy, but that's not going to help any of us get ready for tomorrow.
No.
So we will put you on the list to bring you back, and
appreciate it.
Look forward to that. But man, go get them tomorrow. Go have fun with it.
I'll do what I can from the booth. I don't know how much of an influence I have up there, but I'll try to avoid announcers jinxing us as much as possible. Like, well, Eli wants to avoid the inning ending. Oh, well, there it is, 4-6-3.
Yeah, it's okay. I caught that, but it's okay.
Or saying how few of errors we have, and then we give up 4 in that game. And, well, there goes that fielding percentage we were just talking about.
Well, you just start working on your talk for the bus.
Yeah, I got to get the speech planned out.
Yeah,
And don't hurt any PA guys.
No promises there.
All right, Joe. Good night, buddy. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Joe Templin, everybody. Play-by-play voice, sports information director, Charlotte 49ers baseball. We're going to wrap this up ourselves, but let's get producer Brad back in here. Brad, I say that like someone else is going to put you back in here. Put yourself back in here. So, how's this been, man? How's this trip to Houston?
It's been good. Not the most exciting thing when you're not at the games, but it's been good. So, it's been early mornings, getting that free breakfast at the hotel,
There you go.
walking to the game. So I'm getting some exercise, and avoiding trying to come back looking like I was standing on the sun. So, but yeah, it's been great as far as that, and went adventure driving this afternoon with some time to kill. Just picked a road and drove until I decided it was probably time to turn around, and that was cool. But really, it's been fun to just to be in the stadium and cheer the guys on. There are parts where it feels like it's a grind, because it's been. Heck, been here since, I got here Tuesday night, but it's 4 days of baseball and 5 games, and so yeah, but it's worth it. It's yeah.
How are the crowds, Brad, for like 49ers compared to Middle Tennessee or La Tech, UTSA? How's the crowds been? And we heard some arguing in the stands on Joe's mic. One of those games, I think it was La Tech.
Yeah.
And I was glad it wasn't you. I heard it wasn't you. So
No, if we're talking about the same thing, there was a La Tech guy that was getting nervous that we were about to make a game-changing runs, in the bottom of the ninth, and they were trying to put us away. The pitcher kept throwing foul balls, and he was yelling at the pitcher pretty loud, and one of the other La Tech fans just told him to shut up. So, but that's what I recall. La Tech had quite a contingency. Obviously,
Where are they now?
Well, they're back home now.
Oh, convenient.
Yeah. So, I think tomorrow is probably going to be the first time that it really feels like a road game, because I didn't stick around for the Dallas Baptist games, but you could tell that they were trickling in, and it's only I think it's about a 2.5 hour drive or something like that. So they're going to be there probably in droves tomorrow. So, but the rest of the games have really been fairly even as far as Middle Tennessee probably have about the same amount of crowd as Charlotte's had. Surprisingly, UTSA didn't have a super huge crowd. There was definitely more of them, but they weren't like in just lining all the seats or anything like that.
That's interesting. That Louisiana Tech story, that makes 2 games recently that you've been at, that we've been at, where there's some I don't know if you want to call it an altercation, but there's some discontent in the stands, and both times it's been the opposing team's fans versus the opposing team's fans, because we had that happen at South Carolina. The South Carolina fans got rather upset when we hung that 4 spot on them. Was that top of the 8th?
I believe so.
Hung that 4 spot on them, and some of their fans started yelling at their own players, and what we can only assume is the parents of one of the players they were yelling at expressed to that South Carolina Gamecock fan how they felt about their child being yelled at. And so, yeah, that's just the craziness that goes on in the stands. But you notice it's never us. We're just hanging out. We're happy to be here. And we let the other team fight amongst themselves. It's awesome. Hopefully tomorrow it'll be Dallas Baptist Patriots fans all mad at each other while Brad stands to the side and smiles.
That would be a great feeling.
Charlotte fans are notoriously good-natured, said Ben. Never have any problem with opposing fans or security. Ben, tune into the season-ending softball podcast that we're going to do. We're going to do a season wrap-up with Coach Ashley Chastain on softball and talk about our experience at the Duke Regional. Come back for that, and we'll fill everybody in on that. So, all right, guys, this was kind of last second. We decided to do this, and I think it was worth it. We brought you Woody. We brought you some great stuff from Joe. I like Kevin. You said we bring you the stuff that you can't find in the box scores, and Joe delivered a ton of that. That was some good stuff, and I have a feeling there's plenty more where that came from.
And you won't see Brad in the box score either. We brought you Brad as well, producer Brad. Not
only can you not see Brad in the box score, you can't even see him on the broadcast because he's up hiding somewhere. We can't even get him to appear on camera.
Well, Joe said everyone's up in the shaded area.
Yeah.
You could hear those kids on. You could hear those kids on the first game broadcast when he was.
Yeah. Brad, just lather up with some sunscreen, put that Niner cap on, and get in the camera view, dude.
Well, the first game, I was down in the first round, but they didn't show me. Like I was sitting right next to the dugout. But I never got in shot.
Yeah. Just get behind home plate tomorrow. We'll be looking for you.
All right.
So tomorrow, 2:00 Eastern time, ESPN Plus.
No. CBS Sports Network.
Oh, sorry. That's right. Crap. I forget. Our last act in Conference USA, where we're on ESPN Plus all week long, and then we have to go on to CBS Sports because Conference USA sold their television rights for a Bojangles Chicken Supreme biscuit or whatever they got for their TV rights. So CBS Sports, 2:00 Eastern, tune in. And then it's going to be an interesting day. We'll see what the boys have left. Dallas Baptist is going to be a big challenge, but it's one game, winner takes all, double eliminations, all out the window now. It's one game for the trophy.
Yep.
And our boys have a chip in a chair.
And I got my spikes on. I'm ready.
Kevin's got his spikes on. I don't. The only spikes I have are my golf spikes, and I'm not gonna put them on. All right, folks, we're out of here. All that stuff I always say at the end, it's still true. Social media, YouTube, subscribe, click,
TikTok,
like, share, all that stuff. For all of us, for Woody, for Joe, for Kevin, for producer Brad, good night.
Go Niners.